Good evening, class. My name is Daryl Anderson, and I'll be presenting to you how to give peer review feedback. Some disclaimers. I am slightly under the weather, so if I sound funny, I apologize, and I'll be going in and off the record because I'm giving this presentation as if I were presenting it to an actual class, but to respect the time frame, I will kind of shorten it a little bit. So, back on the record. So, class, today we'll be talking about constructive feedback and how to give peer review feedback when reading each other's writing, okay? And so, the key thing that I want you all to remember today as we go through this lesson is to be kind, always, and to be respectful. No matter what you do and what you say to your peer when you're giving them feedback, and no matter what you think about the writing, always be nice and always be respectful. Okay, so let's go on. Alright, so a brief overview of what we'll be looking at today is how to provide clear feedback on our other peers' performance as far as their writing, and how to give positive reinforcement, not negative reinforcement. Also, we'll be giving them valid and well-reasoned opinions, not just subjective statements. We're going to be giving objective statements about how they're doing when it comes to their writing. Also, we'll learn how to give more positive comments than negative comments. It's crucial when you're giving someone feedback because you don't want to make it sound like you're a negative Nancy and just saying bad things. You want to add more good things than bad. And you always want to maintain a friendly demeanor and never come off as rude or inappropriate when you're giving your peer feedback, because you want to respect them as a writer. Because you want to treat them just as if just how you would like to be treated. Okay, so just to clear some things up, we're going to go over what not to do when giving peer review feedback. Okay, what not to do. So you definitely don't want to do what this guy to the left is doing, which is just give them a thumbs down and say, oh, this is terrible, and then keep going. Okay, so that's not what we would call feedback. That is what we would call disrespectful, and they'll be misusing your academic tone. And so what I mean by academic tone is just speaking analytically and not just speaking as you would casually say out the side of your neck. Okay, you would want to speak in a way that you are actually giving evidence for all the claims that you are making. Also, you don't want to use inappropriate language when you're giving feedback. I know that when you're speaking informally to your peer, then you may use some vulgar language or maybe even curse words, but of course you cannot do that while you're doing peer review feedback. Do not write in all caps or use exclamation marks to make it as if you are saying something louder than usual. That is not using the right tone when you're giving feedback, okay? Also, you want to avoid making illogical fallacies. What that basically means is maybe attacking the person's character instead of criticizing their actual content. Making assertions about their writing without backing it up with any sort of evidence or proof of what you're saying would be making a fallacy, okay? And also, you don't want to just focus on the individual when you're giving feedback. You want to more so focus on the ideas that they're presenting. You don't want to just blatantly say, okay, what you are saying is incorrect or wrong, because that is not providing proper evidence or proof of what they're saying. You want to say it in a way to where you're correcting them, but you're also stating why and proof that what you're saying is actually correct information and you're not just giving your own opinion. Alright, so here I presented you some right ways and some wrong ways to provide some corrective feedback. So let's look at both. So the right way you can phrase your wording something like this. I have to respectfully disagree with your approach to this case. As outlined in Smith 2010, chatting with parents about this issue rather than making a report could increase the risk or harm for your child. So here they're giving feedback on someone's writing, dealing with some research that they have done, and you can look at the keywords that they use here, such as respectfully disagree. And then they also use a citation here, Smith 2010. So this is showing evidence of the claims that they're making versus the wrong way, which would say something like, I think you're completely wrong to choose this approach to this case. I think it would be better for the teacher to just call the parents about this issue rather than making a report to a local agency. So as you can see here, the similarities and differences. The similarities is this, they're still giving the same information and technically the same feedback, but they're using completely different words, such as in the wrong part it says, I think you're completely wrong. So that phrase you just don't want to use at all. This is not something that we say when we're giving peers feedback. Also, it starts to talk about, it uses some subjective statements saying it will be better for the teacher to just call. That's a very subjective statement. There's no objectivity here. You want to back what you're saying up with some sort of claim, and just as they did in the right part, right above it, they actually gave a citation for this, so that would be the right way. Okay, so you all should probably kind of see the difference here as between the right and the wrong way of giving some sort of feedback. So Dr. Ellen Turner is a credible researcher on giving corrective feedback, and if you would, please follow me to this YouTube link, and we will see what she has to say about giving peer-reviewed feedback. Okay, off the record, I'm going off the record here. This is where I will show the students the actual video of what Dr. Ellen Turner says about how to give peer review feedback. I'm not going to show the video because it's about 6 minutes long. We're just going to keep going. But here's where I will actually show them the video in class, and then we will go back to the PowerPoint. Alright, back on the record. Okay, I hope you all enjoyed that video, and you see a clear difference between the right and the wrong way to give corrective feedback. So this is one of the approaches that I tend to use when I'm giving students feedback on their writing. I call it the sandwich approach. And so this approach can be found online, as I have pulled up this picture. It shows how to give corrective feedback in the form of a sandwich. And so you want to always begin with something positive. Find something nice to say, something genuine about the writing that you saw was great. So you can kind of make your introduction into your criticism. And then you will want to point out 3 main things that you feel like inhibit the sharing of information with in the form of writing. So you don't want to try to correct every single wrong error that they've made in their writing, but pick out the top 3. And then this will be your criticism section, okay? This is where you can actually say your negative things, but once again, in a friendly way. And then when you're wrapping it up, you want to end with something positive and encouraging. Maybe give your peer a suggestion on what to do and how to improve their writing, not explicitly telling them what to do, but giving them a suggestion, okay, what they could do to make what they've produced better. And also, you once again need to provide some evidence for what you mean by better and how you can prove that what you're suggesting will indeed make the writing better, and it's just not your opinion, okay? So I present you an example of some feedback which uses this exact approach. I'll read it to you. It says, you provide a thorough discussion of the background and purpose of the Individuals with Disability Act. I think your post could be strengthened by including some specific examples of how IDEA impacts the services students receive in the classroom. For instance, does IDEA impact learners differently based on age? You are really good at using many different sources to support your work. Your post really helped me to better understand the background of IDEA. So you see how they made a compliment sandwich here. So they started off with something positive, they ended with something positive. And in the middle, they talked about some things to improve that person's writing. They even prompted them with a question where they say, does idea impact learners differently based on age? So this is eliciting a certain response from their peer to get them thinking about better ways of going about their writing. So, as a class, I would like us to try together. I have put an excerpt from a student sample writing, and we're going to try to critique it together and see what we all come up with. So I would like for you to turn to your partner and look at this passage together and give some corrective feedback as a partnership, as a group, and then we'll come back to together as a class and discuss it. Okay, going off the record, here's where I will give them about 3 or 4 minutes to give peer review feedback with a partner, and then we'll come together as a class and then we'll discuss how we went about it. Okay, going back on the record now. Alright, let's see what you all came up with, class. Okay, great. Moving on. So, as a recap, I would like to present to you some true or false questions, so let's go through them to make sure that we are understanding exactly what we mean by giving correct peer review feedback and corrective, constructive criticism. So true or false? Sometimes you can use all caps when giving feedback. Is that true or false? Okay, that would be false, right? We don't want to use all caps when giving feedback. That's not using academic tone. Alright, number 2. It is only okay to tell your peer you are wrong when they indeed are incorrect. True or false? Okay, once again, that would be false, because you should never just tell your peer that they are wrong. You should always give them evidence to support why you feel like they should change what they have said to make them a better writer. Alright, 3. Just simply saying things like, great job, and I enjoyed your paper are good examples of feedback. True or false? So once again, that would be false. So it is good to give a positive comment, but you want to describe what made their job so great, or why did you enjoy their paper? Tell them what they're doing right, as well as what they can improve on, so that they can make positive changes. This is an example of giving positive reinforcement. Alright. The last one. Your feedback should have more positive than negative comments. What do you think? Okay, well, this one should be true, right? So you should definitely give more positive than negative feedback, because you want to positively reinforce things, not negatively. No one wants to hear someone give them say a bunch of bad things about their writing. They want to hear some good things too, because it encourages them to do better and move forward productively. Alright, so I hope that you all did get the main takeaways that I wanted you all to get from this, which is remember what I said. Make sure you're always kind, and make sure you're always respectful when giving your peer feedback on their writing. Alright, I'll take this time to answer any questions you all have about how to give peer review feedback.